again.
Guess who's back?
Back again. So we're with our 6th episode.
Yoo-hoo. I don't
Seven.
even know what that was.
That was very strange.
I meant woohoo, but I don't know what
I
happened.
really like that, but it doesn't sound like something that would come out of you.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeehaw. So I have tentatively called this London Illuminations. You see?
I do.
Are you illuminated? Okay. So I have a mini segment. I know it's shocking. And I call this one Psychoanalysis 101. I want to talk about something called the tabula rasa theory. Now, tabula, doesn't that sound like something people eat?
Yeah.
But it's not. First, John Locke talked about it. And his philosophy was that at birth, the human mind is a blank slate without rules for processing data. And that data is added and rules for processing are formed solely by one's sensory experiences.
Okay.
I like that. It's kind of like why we're all unique, that we all go about things in different ways.
I kind of just assumed that. Like, you didn't think that was the way it was?
No, a lot of people don't think that.
Really?
That's the whole thing about psychology. It's like one size fits all on the treatments, and it can't be because we're so unique.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking as someone who I spent my life going from therapist to therapist, after a while it's like, okay, we've done this and I'm done.
Time to move along.
Time to go. I hate when people do the inner child stuff. Ugh,
I'm definitely out with that.
I can't stand
no
it.
one's ever done that with me,
Oh,
but
they've tried with me.
I would immediately leave.
It's so annoying. So anyway, the reason why this then comes into play with Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis.
Does anybody else think of Sigmund and the Sea Monsters?
I did today, because I don't ever think of him as Sigmund, really. I think of him just as Freud. But yes, Sigmund Freud, the sea monster. I do remember that. So Freud depicted personality traits as being formed by family dynamics. So it's the same, but a little different. Like, for example, the Oedipus complex. Freud's theories imply that humans lack free will, which is disappointing, but also that genetic influences on human personality are minimal. So it's not genetics. It's just, again, it's how you process things. It's your sensory experiences. In Freudian psychoanalysis, one is largely determined by one's upbringing. It's not the genetics, but how you've processed it. Again, very true, because we can all have different experiences and each come out differently. No two people come out the same way, even if they've shared the same experience. They just don't. We all process it differently. I thought this was interesting when I wrote it down. I don't know.
No, I think it's interesting because it's true. It happens all the time. You have the same experience and people completely take it a different way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like when the police will ask you about a crime, they'll talk to different witnesses, and all of the witnesses
absolutely
will have different things to say, even though they experienced the same thing.
Exactly. It's what you focus on, this and that, and how you deal with it. And that's the thing I couldn't take of my shrinks. When I would tell them about my childhood, they would all stare at me like, how are you alive or something? It's like annoying after a while. They stare at you like a zoo animal or something.
Well, you did kind of have a fucked up childhood.
Did. Can you act like you're not like you're supposed to be professional?
Yes, that's true.
And then they ask me questions more for their own edification than to help me. Okay, it's not story time for you. But that's why I started writing. I just wrote about it because people might as well read about it. And it's therapy, you know. I don't know. I guess it's okay.
I like it.
Oh my God, I started going when I was like 14 or something.
Me too, 13.
I think I'm over it though. I remember, I don't know what it was. It was some movie or something that said something about a child. They said he has to learn how to self-soothe. And I feel like I've learned to self-soothe. I can just talk myself down from anything. I can just analyze myself and be like, get over it. It's done. And I do it. And as I mentioned, you know, about losing my son, when the worst thing has happened to you, you're like, F it. Nothing even matters now. So who cares? It's do you want? I don't care.
Well, because you've already been to the worst place.
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst thing. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody. But I thought I would talk about that stuff because when we were in London, one of the places we went was Freud's house. And it's so funny because I thought I'd been there. But I knew I'd been there with my son Michael, and I don't remember being alone with my son Michael in London. I'd been with him and Casey, and then I'd been with him and my ex-husband and Casey. So how could I have just been there with Michael? So when we went there, then there was like this it was a very nice house, cute garden and everything. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I have no idea what's going on here. And then I remembered that he had to leave because of the Nazis, but in my mind, it was London that he left. When we were in the gift shop, or paying to get in, and I said, is there a version of this in Vienna? And he's like, oh, yes, before they fled. I'm like, that's where I was.
Yeah, that makes
I went
sense.
to the one in Vienna with Michael because we had been in Vienna.
Now you've been to both.
And the one in Vienna is not nearly as good because they don't have any of his furniture. All the furniture is here, So I'm gonna have to share that with Michael. I mean, it's wasn't it amazing to see all his stuff?
I have to say, I thought I would like it, but I liked it even more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And it all started with the little cat outside. There was a little black cat.
Yeah.
And I was like, any place that has a little black cat is good for me.
But the black cat was sitting right on this like lounge chair thing that said Freud's house right above it. So it was like the perfect thing because with everybody's superstition, this and that black cat, it was really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really interesting.
Oh my God. And his whole office, for some reason, the Nazis released they didn't understand why they let it go. They didn't think it was going to come. But he got all his office furniture and his study. And here, it was set up differently. In Vienna, it was 2 different rooms. But here, it was like one big room on either side. But I love all these trinkets that this man collected.
Yeah.
And I found it to be vindicating for me. Because on my desk, I keep all kinds of objects and trinkets that mean something to me. And everybody's like, how can you work with such clutter? I go, these things inspire me, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Freud said.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because, great minds think alike. And you said you have objects as well.
I have an entire desk at work that I don't use that is filled with my nonsense that I love.
But it's not nonsense if you love it.
No, it's all stuff that I love.
I just love little things. Sometimes I buy a greeting card just because it says something I like on it. So it was this one where the man and the woman, and she's up on a shelf working on whatever little project she's working on. He goes, I hate to see you waste your time on silly things. And she goes, then close your eyes.
Good advice.
But what is silly? It's like, it's not silly if it's important to you.
Oh, yeah.
If something brings you joy or inspiration, these things do make me think of certain things and they inspire me. I also have this thing where when I write a book, I keep all my research books piled on the table. And there's a lot of books, right? And I keep, because I don't like to use I don't like, you could get them digitally, but I want to write in the books.
Yeah.
So I have them all and I keep them all there. And then once I've even submitted it, until I get a contract, those things don't move.
Yeah.
Because I think it's bad luck,
Yeah.
So that takes up a lot of room. But all kinds of things, like you name it. I have like so many purple pens on my desk. I never use them all.
That's what I use at work. I use a purple pen.
It's like inspirational. Like purple is a very creative color. It's my very favorite color. And I have so many things like, and people look at the stuff and like, what is this? I'm like, I love it. I have, of course, my, the rose my sons bought me, what's that company again?
Steven Singer.
Steven Singer makes these, it's a jewelry store that Howard Stern does advertisements for. And he makes these roses that are dipped in gold, but they do different colors. So they got me the, like a sterling silver one, which is purple, which I love.
Yeah.
So I have that on my desk. Everything has a meaning, you know.
I have, you know how I feel about, it's all pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have a Dwight from The Office,
You love that
Sheldon
Dwight, yeah.
from Big Bang Theory, a lot of SpongeBob stuff.
I like certain things from movie, like, okay, I don't think I ever even saw Ice Age, but I love that squirrel with the nut.
He's so cute.
I have a squirrel with a nut. He must have been like in one of those Happy Meals or something, like maybe my kids got it, or possibly I just found it in a thrift shop.
Yeah.
I love buying odd objects in
I do
thrift shops.
too. I know at my daughter's baby shower, my sister-in-law brought me this little tiny fake guinea pig with long hair.
Oh.
And I love it. And
Very
I'm like,
cute.
I love that she knows that I like weird stuff like that.
Weird stuff is where it's at.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
so cute.
I bought my son. I didn't raise my kids with religion at all, really. Like,
Me
and one time
neither.
I was at a party, like a book. It was like a bunch of authors. I brought my kids to the party, and I said something about, oh God, or I don't know what I said, something. And this woman said to me, "You shouldn't use the Lord's name in vain in front of your children." I said, "Well, that's all right. That's the only way they hear it anyway." But so I had this little thing with, like, I found this little baby Jesus in a little, like, the thing that he was in when, that night he was born or whatever. They put him, in the manger thing.
Yeah.
So I just knew that Michael would love this. So I decided to, and he was going, I think he was graduating, going to college, or maybe, I don't know, there was something happening. It was a milestone thing. He was out with his friends, and I decided to track him down and pull him aside and give this to him. Like, but like it wasn't in front of them. They were all like, "What is she giving?" They all thought I was giving him condoms. But I was giving him a little baby Jesus. And he did love it. He still has his baby Jesus.
I have to say, you've given me quite a few Jesus things
Oh,
as well.
Yes. Well, because you always say things like Christ in pajamas. You say,
I really like, you gave me a magnet once that I have at work, and it says, "Jesus is coming, look busy."
I was just thinking that the other day.
I love that. It's so funny.
It is funny. It's true.
It's one of my favorite things.
You guys really ought to think about that. Look busy. What's he going to ask of you, man?
Who knows?
And what about when I bought you the angel snot?
Yes. I have that at work too. I have a lot of that stuff at work.
Yeah, you see, the fun never ends.
Yes.
We're very fun.
Yeah.
So all this to say that Freud had much more serious things.
Yes, he did. But I loved his statues.
In a way, it's desecration because they were from when they excavated grave sites, Egyptian, all ancient sites, and they took these things. They were all buried with people, and he was obsessed with these objects. So I think that's interesting psychological examination of him.
Yeah.
That what's really all it was these things involved with death.
Mm-hmm.
So was this man involved in? He must have been obsessed with death.
Yeah, maybe.
What it meant. Yeah. And but they were everywhere.
They really were, yeah.
There was like piles of them. It made my room look like pristine.
Yeah, he had a lot.
He had a special chair made for him so he could, when he sat in the chair, he could flip his leg over it.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
I did too. And
Yeah.
then he had the chair behind the
Yeah.
sofa.
Yes.
So they wouldn't look at him.
Yes. And he didn't take notes because he felt it was interfering.
Yeah.
I guess he had a good memory or something. But so he would have the person just relaxed. Yeah, he was in this green chair right behind it.
Yeah.
And I have the picture. Remember you took the picture of me in
Yeah.
the fake bed. Remember you saw the woman laying in the bed and you were outraged that she was like.
I was like, how dare she?
But it turned out to be a fake, like a setup, so we could do that too.
I didn't know when I walked into the room. I'm like, this lady has no shame.
So you took the picture of me laying on it, and then behind you could see the green chair. It's actually
Yeah.
how Freud's chair was set up behind it, which is a little creepy too. He's like behind.
Yeah.
it.
I do like that he didn't take notes because I
Yeah.
have been to therapists that took notes, and all you do is sit and wonder what exactly they're writing.
Yeah, I always think it's like something having nothing
Right?
to do
Like-
with us. Like all work and
No play.
There was a book I read where a shrink, there was a murder or something, and then so this person always went to this shrink, and she would sit in the waiting room and listen to the person before her, like screaming, like the whole time the person was just screaming and screaming, crazy stuff, right? And then she would hear the person go out the back door. So then at the end of the book, somehow she's in the room alone, and she goes and she realizes there's no back door.
Oh my God.
It
Oh,
was
it's
the
the therapist. Wow.
Yeah. That's
That's
pretty funny.
that's really fun.
I could see that.
Yeah. Well, some of them are a little nutty, as we both know.
I just think that the higher the degree, the more messed up you are. Because
Yeah.
you just feel like you're trying. I think they're all trying to figure them. I love you guys, don't get me wrong, but they're trying to figure themselves out too.
Yeah. Well, we both, I hope you don't mind me saying, we both had a therapist, the
We've had-
same therapist.
We've had
quite a
three.
few, yes.
Three.
But this one
My God.
was the most bizarre lady ever.
The pride of
She,
Frankenstein.
right. She had Bride of Frankenstein hair, and she had like the shag carpet, and her big old dog would lay there. I mean, I love dogs, so I didn't mind, but really
Right.
it's a little weird.
Yes.
And
Like a Christmas tree that didn't belong.
yes. And I guess she was diabetic because she would have Band-Aids on every
finger.
single
Yeah.
finger.
She was just very strange. And you had recommended her to me
Yeah.
only because you said flat out it was for convenience.
Yes,
She was
'cause she
located nearby.
Was
Yeah.
in the same
Yeah.
town.
So she knew that we knew that we were both
Yeah.
patients. She goes, well, you have to go out the back door. Someone you know is. I'm like, I wonder who that is.
And by the way, I ran into somebody else I knew because it's a small town.
There's like one shrink in that town.
Yeah.
And yeah, she wasn't.
And then my daughter worked at the local beauty salon in the same town. And she told me that she would come in and do that Bride of Frankenstein hair on purpose.
Yeah.
She would leave the one white streak.
It would have to be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how would it stay like that?
Yes. And it was
Yeah.
like big and black, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. When I brought Casey to her, I brought him. We were getting divorced, and I wanted to get a little checkup. So Casey was little, maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she had him draw the family. Okay, he wasn't like Monet or something. You know what I mean? Like kids are in different stages, draw things
Right.
different ways, right? So he drew the family, and then she said, "Well, he didn't." Like he drew sticks, but he didn't draw like the actual hands, right? He
Right.
just drew the arms.
Mm-hmm.
So she said she sent him out of the room, and she's talking to me about this, and she goes, "Well, he didn't draw arms." I go, "Well, he's always like I never
He's a
claimed
little kid.
I don't know what to tell you. I guess he's not a protege, of somebody." And she goes, "Well," she puts up her hands. She goes, "Maybe he can't handle the situation." I go, "What?" And so then she'd made him come back in and draw a tree. I paid her for this. She didn't talk to him about anything at all, which I thought she was going to do, right? So he draws the tree, and he draws like the trunk very meticulously, right? And he's taking a while because that's the way he had, like, people do art in different ways.
Right.
He likes to stay in one area and finish that first.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets impatient. She sends him out, and she goes, "He didn't draw any branches." I go, "Well, he didn't get a chance." She goes, "No, that I forgot why it mattered." It's very significant that he didn't draw the branches. So he comes back in and he goes to her, "Can I have that back?" She goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, I got to go draw the branches."
Yeah, she was quite the quack.
That was the last time I
Yes.
went to see her. I was like, "This is over.
Yes.
I'm not paying for any more of these
I
shenanigans."
know. I bailed too. I was like, the convenience isn't worth it.
No, sometimes it's like Dunkin' Donuts. It's worth the trip.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Although Dunkin' Donuts is no good anymore either. They used to have really good coffee. Went out the window.
I'm okay with Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
It's like too thin. You can
I
see
don't
through
mind
it.
it.
If you can see through it, it's no good.
I'm okay. I like it on the milder
Oh, you
side.
do. You
I
do. I like very strong
Yes.
coffee.
And
Yeah.
plus, I have the app, so I get all this free shit. I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's great. You get points for everything you buy.
I have that with 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Because I like, cause when I'm driving around, it's very convenient. Like 7-Eleven coffee is pretty decent. Yeah.
I don't know why I never go to 7-Eleven. I just don't like it.
It's just, there's a lot of them. So when I'm on the road,
Yeah.
I go there. So
Yeah,
Anyway,
there's
we
something
really
about
went
it.
off the top.
Oh, okay.
No, but this was fun. It was good. It's good.
It's good.
So Freud, there was one other thing that he had this famous patient called the Wolf Boy. They called him the Wolf Boy because he always had dreams of being attacked by wolves, and terrifying dreams. So they talked, and he had drawn. There were a couple of paintings of the Wolf Boy's things there. But what they never said was if Freud cured the Wolf Boy. It's like, because it seemed to have terrorized him for a large part of his life. So he'd been going to Freud so long. I'm like, did this even help? So I thought it was odd.
Oh,
No one said
is
that.
odd.
You have to look into that more.
I missed that.
Yeah, they were hanging there like, okay, the wolf. And there was a rat boy or something too.
Oh.
But they, but they didn't have, like, that was mentioned in a film, but I didn't see any rat boy pictures.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No. But Freud himself was quite interesting. I mean, he had, it was cancer, right? What did he have?
Yes, in his jaw from smoking.
Yeah, they had the insert thing from his jaw
Yeah.
on display. That was
It
really
was pretty
disturbing.
gross.
They had his
Yeah.
cigar cases, and they had his coat and everything. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And his walking stick and
Yeah.
everything, and his hat. But even when he was sick, he still saw patients because that's how much he
Yes.
loved. He loved what he did. So, yeah. So very interesting.
Yes.
Anything more we want to say about Freud?
The thing that I found most disturbing was that he got out, but his sisters
Oh, I
didn't.
know.
4 sisters died.
I know.
in
They tried to get them out, but they
Yeah.
couldn't. They
died
had to
in
pay
concentration camps.
I know, and they paid a ransom for him. It was they called it a tax, but it
Yeah.
was but when they describe it as a ransom in the place,
I know.
Yeah.
It's just so
yeah,
sad.
for him and his family,
Yeah.
because they had arrested his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I saw in Vienna. They had the telegrams like urgent. Anna Freud arrested and being held. We must get them out. So
Yes,
that's
but she makes it to England too.
Yeah, she does. But then the four
sisters,
sisters.
yeah.
Yes, but he died before he knew that they died. He died
Yeah.
still hoping they would be alive because he died right at the start of the war. Like
Yeah.
right when all the real
He only lasted like a year in London.
something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a nice year, I guess. The places. Oh, and they have a plant like that's from an original cutting of one of his plants, and it's really flourishing.
Yes.
Really nice.
And the garden was lovely.
It really was, and they had beautiful rose. I took a picture. I love
Yeah.
taking pictures of beautiful roses. So I'll put this all up on the website one day, people. For now on, I'll put some pictures on the
Someday.
Facebook group, but you will see them someday.
Yeah.
It's worth waiting for. Okay. So we went to Greenwich because I had done this with my kids. And the thing about Greenwich is they have that 0, it's the prime meridian. So if you could stand on the Eastern hemisphere and the Western hemisphere at the same time.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. But we found out that they charge for that now. They charge a ridiculous amount of money to go in this place. Was it 20 pounds?
Yes.
20 pounds to go in the observatory, okay? I mean, that's unreasonable, okay? And all I wanted to do was stand on the prime meridian. And she goes, well, no, now you have to pay. I'm like, what? And she told us that if you stand by a gate, you can see part of it.
Yeah.
But then you met a really nice guy who said you can go through that gate and actually stand on
and
the prime
stand
meridian.
on it.
Yeah, which we did. But I mean, this woman just lied. She basically wanted to try to force us to shell out 40 pounds.
Yeah. And this guy I didn't even ask him. He just told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
And
I thought you
he
would
just
why
offered
would he,
this information.
Well, he was a nice guy. He was talking to us for a while.
Yes, and you
Yeah.
know how I feel about strangers talking to me.
Well,
But he was nice,
he
so
had
I
a
was
good
okay
point.
with
He was
it.
talking about gun violence. He's like, we had one mass shooting and we got rid of all the guns.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah,
Not here.
not here. But that's a different topic for
Yes.
sure.
But that was really cool, the primary.
I thought so, except
Yeah.
we had to take an Uber up there. 'Cause
We saw a hill and we were like, nope.
it was the hill of all hills.
It
was
yes.
worse than Edinburgh
It was quite
because it was
large.
very steep.
Yes, because we went down that hill.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that either. I don't like going down.
No, down it, but at least you're going down. But like, my
Yeah.
God, to go up that, I felt like we would have got to a point and rolled back down. It was and I did it with my kids. So I guess it just goes to show you what a few years will do.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I wasn't trying to go up that thing.
I didn't even remember that walk, but
Yeah.
I guess because you're distracted at different times of your life. I was with the kids and this
Yeah.
and that. But I will say that it is there's just something cool about that. And then when I was first, I didn't buy anything in the gift shop because I was mad because I didn't think we were going to get to go on the prime. But then when we did, I went back in and bought a
Yeah.
souvenir. But then a guy came out. I swear to God, it was a Dalai Lama.
I didn't see him.
This guy was dressed. He was in like, do all the Tibetan monks wear exactly what the Dalai Lama? Like he looked at me, smiled. So
I have no idea.
they escorted him from another way, not the way I came in, right? And I was the only one that saw him besides the escorts. And he smiled at me and he went up the stairs. But isn't the Dalai Lama like canceled now?
I don't know.
Didn't he like kiss a little boy in an improper place?
Really?
I think he did. Ugh. You didn't hear about this? No, in front of people. It was like he said it was good luck.
All right.
Like over his clothes, but yeah.
Oh.
Well, would it be better if the kid didn't have clothes on?
No, all of it's bad. It's just bad.
Well, I don't know, but like now he's like lurking around the observatory. What's going on? I don't know, but it looked just like him, and he smiled at me.
Oh.
Did I ever tell you my boyfriend had a bracelet that was blessed by the Dalai Lama, and little by little it wore off him, and it was like I think I was entranced by the Dalai Lama stuff, by the blessing,
Yeah.
and then gradually it wore off. Dear me.
Yeah.
I held on to that little shred of that bracelet. By the
Wow.
way. Yeah. But that would be interesting if I don't know if I met the Dalai Lama. I don't know if he smiled at me.
Maybe.
Do they all wear those same robes or is it his special robe?
I don't know.
See, I don't know. It's hard to tell, because if
you could look him up and see if it's the same guy.
It looked like him, but it looked like him, but that was that robe also. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll never know. Let's just say I met the Dalai Lama.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello, Dolly. Yeah. So, and then we went down and saw that museum, which you were bored in like 2 seconds. But I was sitting there taking all these pictures. I get obsessed in museums. Like I want to really learn.
It was about the royals.
No, it wasn't all about the royals.
No, not all about the royals.
I didn't like the royals.
I got very. I like museums usually. I did not like that one.
I like learning the artist stories and what they went through. I like the thought process. Well, because I'm an artist too, but with words. I love learning about their processes and what they're trying to say with it. And each work of art is like you're adding your own interpretation to it, just like a book, right? Yeah. Like a good book. So that's what gets me with that stuff. And when they're more, the royal paintings were more mundane. They were like whatever. I didn't get it. But there was one where this guy was an artist and he was a prisoner of war and he was painting the other prisoners. Mm-hmm. And they had bribed the guards so they could have bedding, but they gave up their sheets so he could paint on the sheet and use it. Oh. So they were the paintings of these guys that were prisoners of war. And I thought I just like studying them, the people's, and I felt like you sort of have to bear witness to that kind of stuff, because I went through so much.
No, apparently I do not think so.
You didn't get that far.
I'm like a 2-year-old. I was like, no, thank you.
By the way, that makes me think of Hogan's Heroes. I mean, that show was horrible. I mean, when you think about how wrong to have a show about the Holocaust, like a comedy.
Yeah, there were a lot of shows when we were kids that shouldn't have been.
Dukes of Hazzard with the Confederate flag. Why were we watching these shows?
I don't know.
What was wrong with everybody?
No idea.
I mean, it's crazy.
But I watched them. I don't
what
know.
about F Troop?
Yeah. If you're too young for these shows, look them up. They're ridiculous.
I started making a list. Let's do an episode about those shows, the inappropriate shows. Oh my God. And this is what we grew up watching. They were reruns when we were kids.
I know. Did I ever tell you? So me and my brother and my cousins loved Lost in Space.
Oh, I found that a little annoying, that show.
We loved it.
Yeah.
And then it went off the air. So I don't know if we actually wrote the letter, but we were going to write a letter to whatever TV, whatever channel.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that it was reruns.
Yeah.
We had no idea. We just thought this was a show that was on.
Well, when you're little, you don't realize it. But they were, we all, I dream of, there's another inappropriate one. I dream of Jeannie, what she's wearing. And she's like, he keeps her in a bottle.
I know. It's like Bewitched. Like, how stupid was Darren? His life could have been so easy.
I know he's ordering her around all the time. Yeah. No, that would not fly either.
No.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the Greenwich, and then we took that bus. We took the bus back.
We took the bus all the way
wanted to
back.
take in. We just wanted to see, and everybody was trying to discourage us, but it was fun on the double decker. But we thought that we could go one way and then it turns around and it starts over. But we got on the bus. I paid the guy, and then I said, "Is this the bus to London?" And I swear to God, he gave me a look like he had never heard of London.
He did.
Like he took a London. Like, what you talking about, Willis? You must have heard of it. It's like, I don't go there. I go, where is it? Across the street. Like he just dismissively. And
he was very rude.
And I was like, can I have a transfer? And he said, no.
Yeah, he was not nice at all.
Oh my God. But mostly people were nice.
Yes.
So then, let's talk about that boring walking tour.
Oh my!
It was free.
God.
I guess you get what you pay for. No, we took a free walking tour in Edinburgh. It wasn't free because I paid. I ordered it on this thing where we in Viator, and we didn't. The tip was included, but it was free. It was just that we paid the tip.
Yeah.
But that was very good. That tour. She was good.
Yeah.
She was interesting. But it was such a letdown in England. Like, oh my God! And this guy just wouldn't shut up.
3 hours.
And dragging us all over the friggin', like everywhere.
I wanted to rip his man bun right off of his head. I was so annoyed.
And he just like, he was so sunny about it. Like he acted like nothing bad had ever happened in London. Even he talked about the fire and he didn't make it sound upsetting at all.
No, it was boring. He was annoying. And once again, it was 3 hours.
And he kept saying, well, I'm going to take you longer, but I got to show you this. And what he showed us was nothing spectacular anyway.
No. And if I saw one more church, I
There's a lot of
swear.
churches, yeah.
I was
And
so
there's
dumb.
long stories about them.
Right. Who cares?
I don't know. And then he made us walk to the waterfront. And he's like, there's more. The steps, it's worth it. But it wasn't worth it to us because we'd already taken a cruise.
Yeah. And saw the same thing.
We'd been under these bridges and everything. And I thought what we learned on the cruise was much more interesting. Like we learned that one of the bridges, women built it because the men were at war, and which I thought was fascinating. And he said it was the only bridge that was ever built on time and under budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we didn't hear that from this guy.
No.
This guy, and like, but I didn't have the heart to tell him because he was like, wasn't it worth it? And we were both like, yeah. But we didn't feel like telling the truth. We lied, but which is unusual.
By the end of this tour, I hated this man so much.
I know. And then he said, let's take one more side thing. But there won't be any steps. And then there were steps.
Yes, he
lied right to our faces.
He sure did.
And then when he took us to the Tower of London, he acted like it was the most sunny place. People live there. Apparently, if you're a soldier for a certain amount of years, you can apply to live there or something.
Yeah.
But he didn't talk anything about the deaths, the murder, like Anne Boleyn. Yeah. What is going on here? I wouldn't want to live in the Tower of London. It's one of the darkest places ever in the world.
Not according to him.
He didn't even mention that.
No.
So then he mentioned, like, even when he talked about, like, it was interesting despite him, because I guess I never even realized that Rome was really created by the Romans. Not Rome. London was created. Duh. That they came there. That's the reason why it's such a big industrial thing. So the little center where we were, and he took us to a place where there had been a Colosseum, and there's like a circle, and you could see. But he made it sound so boring. Like, I mean, those fights were really vicious and awful. And he's just like, the gladiator. Like, he was like, la, 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 And he just made it so boring when it should have been so interesting.
Yeah. No, I was so mad.
We shouldn't have even given him that.
Miserable.
We shouldn't have given him that 10 pounds.
No.
And we also were going to a show, and he knew it. And we're like, I'm like, will this man ever shut up?
No.
And we finally like, we got to go.
Yeah. By the way, the show was really good.
Was excellent. 39 steps.
Yeah.
Yes. It was the Alfred Hitchcock, which we never saw. We have to see that. But it was the story, but it was made into a comedy, like a farcical comedy. It was so fun.
It was really good.
There were just 4 cast members, but they were playing all these different parts. Well, the main guy was just playing himself, but everybody else was playing all these different parts. Yeah. It was really great.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Good show.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come here sometime.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was really great.
Yes.
And also they take a train to Edinburgh and then to the Highlands. And
Which we did.
Yeah. So it was like really cool. The British Library has all these incredible objects from history. They have the Magna Carta from 1215. And then they have like Beatles stuff that they wrote. They had like on an envelope they had written, I think it was Michelle or I don't know, P.S. I love you.
I took a picture of it. I don't remember which song it was.
Yeah. But it's really fascinating. Again, I love that because I'm a writer too, and I always write in little scraps. So like the idea, like, wow, that moment that muse hits, like that's just like a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that place was really interesting.
And then they had Shakespeare's first folio. I think they had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they did.
But the thing that really struck me about it is they had a plaque for these guys. Now, I did not put it in my notes, but they had a plaque to the 2 guys that made the first folio. And it was done after Shakespeare had died. And they did it because they knew he was so great and he was their friend, and they did it for love. They didn't profit from it at all. They just did it in his memory that people would remember Shakespeare. And so after his death, that's how the first folio came to be. To me, that proves that Shakespeare was Shakespeare.
Wow.
Right? Because they knew the man and they did it. Because there's all that controversy. But I say if somebody else was Shakespeare, if somebody else wrote those plays, they would want to take credit for that.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Of course.
But there's all kinds of theories, but I say he was him, and just a brilliant guy who did not like his wife because in his will he left her his worst bed.
Wow.
Her name was Anne Hathaway. And then apparently she got pregnant, and that's how she got him to marry her. So they always say, where there's a will, Anne hath a way.
That's cute.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a bad sign when someone leaves you their worst bag.
Yeah, really.
Well, he left and he was in London mostly.
Yeah.
But then he had a kid named Hamnet, not Hamlet. And Hamnet, it's sad, Hamnet died.
Oh.
Yeah. What I really was staring at is the plaque with the two guys, because I want to research those guys.
Yeah.
I'd like to write about them, like their dedication. Without them, we would not, we probably, those plays might not have survived.
All right.
Because we don't have any handwritten stuff by Shakespeare, which also makes them suspect it's not him. But it just, whatever, it just, he was careless with it. I don't know. I mean, but these people said it was for William Shakespeare. So why would they do that? Why wouldn't they say who he really was? But then they did that for him.
Yeah.
And there's a plaque, right, when you come in that talks about them. So I'm going to research those guys.
Cool.
Very cool. This is the kind of things that catch me, little things like that. But, I love that. If you ever get a chance to go to the British Library, they have this, and then they had the whole collection from King George III. Like all his books were like in the center. Like, my God, the guy was a jerk, but he had a lot of books. Then let's see, what's the name of that store that we went crazy going to? The Magic. What was it called? It was a store for monsters or something, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I'll put that in. Maybe I'll put that in the notes because the store is very cool. It's this store. Supposedly they're selling things for monsters, but humans can enter at their own risk. And like you buy all this weird stuff.
Like I bought smoked bone chunks. And fairy dust made from real fairies.
I bought that too. I bought that from my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
And I bought one for me.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like
So
cute
that's going to
stuff
go
like
on my
that.
desk
Yeah.
for sure. But also they have like this cat, like it's like supposed to be an invisible cat. You hear it meowing all around you. And then they have like stories about, that like monsters are seeking pen pals, they're lonely and stuff. But what I really loved about it the most was that all their proceeds go to teaching writing to kids.
Yeah.
And in the behind, there's a fake door. The room, it's very narrow, but that's because there's a fake door. And when you open it, there's a whole classroom of kids learning writing in the back.
Yeah, we heard them.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I thought, didn't you think that was another place maybe? Like a play place or something?
I wasn't sure what it was at first.
But then when it said that about all the money went to the writing, I was so happy. Like,
Yeah.
because we went through hell to get to this place. Because it has moved apparently 3 times, the Google thing took us to the wrong address.
Yes.
Okay, so when you go to a place, make sure you put in the current address of something. Don't put the name of the store because it took us to a place that it hadn't been in for a while. And if we hadn't met a really nice guy that was he a cop? He was something.
He was a security guard.
He went out of his way. He showed us the empty thing, and he said, "Oh, it was here when it was here." And then I looked it up. And I'm like, this is not the number. And I told him, he goes, oh, they must have moved again. He goes, and we were like all like dejected, and we weren't. He goes, oh, I've seen that place. It's not that far. Come on. He was like our cheerleader.
Yeah.
And he guided us out. And then he told us to get the bus across the street. So then we were unsure because it was
Which
a weird
bus stop. Yeah.
And he came running out after us and told us to keep going. Like he was really like a guardian angel to us.
It was
like,
so nice.
Amazing.
And by the way, in that alley, there was a store that was, I guess, the inspiration for the Leaky Cauldron.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. For Harry Potter fans,
What it was.
London and Edinburgh are it.
Well, I think it's the building. They used to be the Leaky Cauldron.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff.
There's so much Harry Potter stuff.
Well, we went to the 9 3/4 track. They have a store there exactly where it would be located in King's Cross. Because we were staying by King's Cross, and that's when we came in from Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because it was exactly where it should have been. You know? And
between Platform 9 and Platform 10.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And we took a picture under the thing and everything.
Yeah.
And I think I love when things are well done like that.
Yes.
And just like I love when the amusement park, I'm really not a Harry Potter freak, but I just love experiencing really well done things.
Oh my God. In Universal Studios in Florida, it is amazing because 2 parks have the different Harry Potter areas.
Yeah.
And you can take the train, the Hogwarts train, in between the 2 parks.
Well, yeah.
It's so cool.
It's amazing.
For a Harry Potter fan, it is awesome. I had such a good time. I loved it.
Yes. I've been there. I've been to both. Well, you were with me in the California one,
Yes.
but I've been to the Florida one too, with the kids.
Yeah. I did not take my kids.
I took my kids, and Casey was friggin' terrified on the ride. I'm like, "Oh, it's Harry Potter. How bad could it be?" He goes, "We got to." It was terrifying. It was, and you're flying around into spiders' webs, and he goes, "I'll never trust you again." But anyway, so if you're in England, you go to King's Cross and see that. It's very cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
And there's a million souvenirs you can buy, of course.
Yes.
And then we did. I would think we both agree this was our feet were killing us, and we were like, should we go? But I had been on this tour a while ago, but you go on tours and you forget stuff, but you hadn't been, so we wound up going to the Jack the Ripper tour with Ripper Vision. Well, what is Ripper Vision? It's basically, when you're in school and they had the little, they had the light, the projector, and they put the thing up. That's what it was.
Yes. So she would show you pictures like on walls.
Yeah, but it was interesting. Although she said they were so gruesome. Honestly, the autopsy pictures of these women, I mean, they were dead. It wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't gruesome because it was just their faces.
No, it's just their faces. Yeah.
But there was one when
there was one that was really bad
because the last crime scene was the first forensic crime scene in London. I don't know if anywhere, but in London.
I think anywhere.
Can they really lay claim to that? How do you know?
I think that's what she said.
I think that's what she said.
Yeah.
But sometimes
I don't know if that's true.
How did she really know? Like, I think sometimes tour guides overstep themselves.
Yes.
Like, you could say you know it in London, but do you really know that anywhere?
Who knows?
But she said it. She had this woman had a microphone like Madonna on stage or something, Janet Jackson.
Like you thought she was going to Vogue.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people on this tour.
A lot.
Yeah, so we made friends. We made some friends.
Let's be clear. Selene made friends because I am not friendly at all.
Yes, you are. They just don't know you're not friendly. You act friendly. We made friends
I'll be
also
nice.
with those nice girls in
Edinburgh
as well.
I did like those too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's surprising. You actually liked people.
Yeah, because I'm not really a people person.
Well,
Selene is way more friendly than I am.
I do. I like talking to people. I do like talking to people.
Oh my God, you would have been so proud of me. Yesterday, I went to Walgreens to get my COVID and flu shot, and there was this really old couple and this other lady, and I actually engaged them in conversation.
Wow.
I was like, who am I?
Very nice.
I was surprised at myself. I was like, we chatted, and I was like, what the fuck just happened?
There you go.
I was like, look at me talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I avoid that like the plague.
Survived. Look at that. You didn't turn to dust.
Yeah, I probably won't do it again, but it happened.
Well, I'm proud of you then.
Thank
very
you.
Nice. So this was a very unruly tour. And I remember I was talking to people, and this guy, like, we were leaving, right? And this guy comes past us, one of the people on the tour. He goes, "Let's go." Who are you? It was such a long amount of people that people were losing. Like, she took us through really crowded places where people were drinking and social. And we were like, at one point she had to go back and find people because they went the wrong way because it was such a long amount.
Yeah. And it was so hard to keep up. And then people would step in between you.
Yeah. They didn't know.
No, they had no idea.
It was a lot of people. We went down that brick lane, where all the Indian restaurants are. We wound up eating there the next night. My son had recommended it. It was good too.
Yes.
But anyway, so it was a little bit chaotic, and you were like, "Oh, it's long." But meanwhile, I didn't know it was long because I had poured 2 beers into my canister, into my metal thing, and I was just drinking along so happily, like a water container, but it's tin, so you can't see in it, and it was beer. Because on the walking tour, with a 3-hour boring walking tour, that guy kept walking us through people at a happy hour drinking, and I at one point wanted to grab a man's beer and take it. And I was like, I am not having beer.
Well, can I also just say the Jack the Ripper tour was almost 3 hours.
I know, but I didn't know because I was drinking.
I know, but hour 2, I was like, no. I was like, no, thank you.
You're like, this is like over 2 hours. I'm like,
I was
it?
like, tick,
I'm like, is it?
Tock. Let's go, lady.
Yeah, try drinking while you're doing this. It was lovely. I was just sipping it away. It was very nice.
I was not happy.
It was even 2 different kinds of beer I mixed.
Oh, I was cranky. I was like, this lady needs to wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, so then I know she was. I don't know. She says she's like the most. She's got 1 million views on YouTube or something. Well, she's the only one with the Ripper vision.
Yes.
Very
Well,
into it.
it wasn't that it wasn't interesting, but I get.
We were at the point where I will say she could. We were like, why doesn't she just lie about where they found the body?
Yeah,
Who really cares?
We wouldn't know the difference.
No, she's dragging us around in circles.
Yeah.
And why is she walking so fast? And someone else was like, I feel like we're walking a marathon.
You've got like 30-something people behind
and they had
you.
handicapped people, but the handicapped people beat us every time.
Yes, because she would tell them the shortcut.
Yeah, we need the shortcut.
Yes. And she every 5 seconds she called everybody lovelies.
Ugh.
My lovelies.
Her name is Sinead. You called her something else. What was that one?
Siobhan.
Siobhan from Ryan Soap.
Yeah.
No, Sinead, like Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Sinead O'Leary.
Yeah, something like that.
Very, but she's not from Ireland or anything. She's Russian.
Yes. So, yeah.
But anyway, so she did. There's one interesting thing about it. She went through all the people that are the suspects. Like, there's Jack the Ripper, like experts, ripperologists or something they call it, which is kind of funny. And but when she talked about one that really, for me, it sealed the deal. And I felt it was him, because it was like this wealthy guy that and like the killing stopped. No one really knew why, right? So they think it's a couple of people. One guy committed suicide, one guy went to jail, so they thought they could have been them. But this guy moved to America or something. He moved somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he was having these parties and showing everybody these women's wombs that he had preserved in jars. Okay, now, is that a red flag or what?
Yeah, really. Like, where do you get those?
And why would you show them to people?
Yes. And she said there was a murder very similar to the other murders wherever he was.
Right.
Yes.
He was also, by the way, arrested as part of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, but they let him go, which is weird. So the British wanted to extradite him here based on the talk of these wombs, but the Americans said, no, it's not enough evidence. We won't extradite. But why didn't they let them come there and question him or something? Like, it does seem. Anybody with jars of wombs, something's going on.
Yes.
Where did those wombs come from? Don't say it. Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to say a story about that.
Okay.
So when the women were killed, these are very sad stories about these women, but they were all alcoholics. Why were they drinking gin? They should have just drunk beer and they would have been better.
Gin was probably cheaper.
It must. I don't know, but they spent every time they earned money, they would spend it on gin. And a lot of times, instead of paying for their housing, they bought gin. I mean, I would want to be drunk too. I mean, I want to be drunk anyway, but if they had some miserable lives,
Right.
I mean, it was really horrible. So one of them, it wasn't the last one. It was like the second or third one. She always wore these like little rings, like little copper rings, and her friends went to identify her, and they all said that the rings were missing. So you say what you were about to say then.
This guy had 3 rings that fit that description.
They didn't find them once he was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what are the odds? I mean, to me, that means he did it. His name
in all likelihood, yes.
Well, I mean,
we'll never know for sure.
it's really annoying.
But,
I hate that when things are unsolved.
Yeah.
I like to know. His name is Francis Tumblety. Tumblety. And he had this outrageous mustache. Like, it was like, right? And people are like, well, it couldn't have been him. Nobody described the mustache. So someone else pointed out he probably had a smaller mustache at the time. People act like you always have that mustache, That's why people are so stupid sometimes, like they just don't figure it out.
You know what I love? When they describe a criminal and they tell you what clothes he was wearing.
I know, like he'll never change again.
He could never.
I know. It's so ridiculous.
Yes.
I know, like he's a cartoon character or something,
right.
He
wears the same outfit every day.
Oh, that's so funny. I was telling somebody how I like how Kamala Harris always has like the same kind of outfit on. Like, I just like the way she dresses. I think that it's like almost like a uniform. Like it's just different colors, but the same thing. And I admire that. I can never pull that together because it seems like it would be so much easier just to get dressed. So I was saying to somebody, I'm like, yeah, she always has that same thing. So this woman took it a totally different way. She goes, yeah, she's kind of like a cartoon character. Like on Scooby-Doo. Isn't it funny how people take things in a different way?
That's really funny.
By the way, she wore those even like I saw pictures of her back when she was running for DA. It was the same kind of thing. Like she was really stuck to her guns with that, and it does well. It's very nice. I like it. God, she was in a feud with that horrible woman from Fox.
Which one?
The one that's engaged to the
so
Trump.
Many.
Trump engaged to Trump. Donald, the kid.
I don't know.
Oh, she's a vicious, horrible woman, and not even pretty. And she was so funny because she was married to Newsom in California. The three of them were all rising stars, and then she turned like all. Well, we shouldn't talk about politics, but she changed.
You can tell where we stand.
Well, not really. Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yeah.
But she actually left Fox because she was accused of sexually harassing somebody, and they did a payout for her.
Wow.
But this woman has like the meanest face. This has nothing to do with politics. I'm just saying, when you look at her, she looks mean. She looks cruel. She just has this face like she hates you.
I'll have to look her up.
And I will say one other thing. She's a few years younger than Kamala, but she's still in her 50s, right? And she's engaged to this Don Jr. That's surprising. You know, he actually went for a woman that old. That's what I'm saying. But whatever. Yeah, she's older than Melania. What's the matter?
I'm just saying we're
long. At time. Are we long? Okay. So, all right. Well, I'm down to my last thing anyway.
Okay.
And it's a quote. I figured I'd say it from Shakespeare. We might have further things to say about London in the future, but I think we've done a good job tonight, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm quoting Shakespeare because he's the ultimate Londoner. I mean, he was not born there, but he lived there for a long time, certainly. Mm-hmm. And the quote is, "Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none." I have that in my kitchen.
I like it.
Yeah, I wish people would listen to that. How about you? What do you got?
I'm going to go with Salvador Dali.
Oh, nice. Hello, Dolly. I get to say hello, Dolly, twice in one episode.
And once again, it's pretty short. It's have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it.
Nice. I think it would be really boring to be perfect, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Because life really is in the messiness. That's where you find the joy and the beauty. It's not in the perfection.
No.
When you go in someone's house and it's all sterile, it's like, do you live here? Like, you know what I mean? When it's so pristine and like, but there's nothing there. It's all bare.
Oh, that's the house I grew up in.
Oh.
Like you couldn't tell there were children in that house.
I don't know how that happened. Yeah. But I mean, it's one thing to be clean. I didn't mean that, but I just mean like just sterile, you know, like.
Oh, yeah.
So you think you have this perfect house, but what you want a house that's lived in, you know, like something.
We had the living room that no one actually sat in.
Oh, yes. I had a friend that had that
Yes.
too. I'm like, what is this, roped off like it's a museum? It was
Yes.
insane.
I think the only person that sat in there was my grandmother when she'd come from Haiti. She would just plant herself in the corner of the couch. Like literally, that's all she did was sit there.
That's funny.
It was very odd.
So is she like the grandmother in My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
No.
Okay.
No. No, she was very grandmother looking. White bun, cat glasses, polyester dress.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't speak English at all.
So she's like that in that way then?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. And she would just, her whole visit, literally, she sat in that corner of the couch.
Great. Good times.
And she must have gotten up because there was always a bowl of cream of wheat sitting on the stove. So she must have gotten up at some point to make it, but I never saw her eat it.
With good reason.
Yes. I would never eat cream of wheat. I was told I was allergic to cream of wheat. I was like, when I was little,
Thank
I
God.
was like, I would never eat that anyway.
You probably just didn't want it.
Right.
Probably like pretended to throw
gross.
up or something. God, nastiness.
Weird.
Well, life is weird.
Yes.
But I'm just staring at Keith Richards.
Yes.
So, all right, well.
People are looking at us through the window. Like,
right now?
Through this whole thing, yeah.
Oh, I forgot to put up our little sign. I usually put up a sign about our podcast that we're taping it.
Yes, this teenager just went, I know you guys can't see me, but she just made this.
A look of awe and shock.
She did.
Yes.
Anyway.
See, we lost our chance to recruit her into the podcast here. She would love. That's totally our demographic, for sure. Talking about F Troop, Dalai Lama, and Salvador Dali. I love that I got to say that in twice.
Salvador Dali.
Well, no, hello Dali.
Oh, hello Dali.
Yes. Without either one being the real hello Dali. All right. Well, this has been fun. We love you, darling, but the season is over. As my aunt used to say about when she was a musician. You know?
Nice.
We love you a lot. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. And I'm not going to tell you how to find this because you're listening, so you found it.
Yeah.
And join our Facebook group if you're on Facebook, please. And we just love being with you guys. And please let us know what you'd like us to talk about because we're going to run out of ideas. We need you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obi-Wan, you're the only one that can save me. Isn't that what she said?
That is not what she said.
Help me, Obi-Wan.
Kenobi.
Okay.
You're my only help.
Well, all right. I was ad-libbing. I was making it better. I was being Dave Perth instead of...
I am a Star Wars nerd.
Isn't that guy's name Dave Perth, the guy that played Darth, the real Dave Prowse, right?
The one that actually played the physical.
Yeah. I'm being like him instead of James Earl Jones.
Oh, I have no idea. I just know James Earl Jones.
I don't know why, but I'm interested in who really plays people like that. It's either Dave Perth or Dave Prowse.
Yeah, no, I just like the voice.
Do you realize we took a ride from Edinburgh to London, and we really don't know how we got there through that, what route we took?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look.
Because someone told me that Ireland's like an island, so it couldn't have been gone. I don't even know.
I don't know. I read through the whole trip.
We did go through Kent, I think it was. York. One of those.
No idea.
Yeah. Well, that's us. Very observational. All right. Well, thank you so much again. We will see you next week for episode 7. Who knows what that will be? Certainly not us.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see when I'll figure it out that morning of. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.